This episode of BB Garage was filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Hi guys, my name's Kayleen and I'm the Pilates mechanic here in the BB Garage. Welcome to BB Garage Live. Today we're going to talk about how to retrofit your Exo Chair with the Cactus 2.0. And before we get started, I wanted to mention why maybe you would want to do this. So your Exo Chair pedal sometimes might make a noise, and we'll see if this one does it. A little bit. Yours might be really loud. Sometimes when I go in studios, I hear people describe it as a chorus of Exo Chairs. And so if your Exo Chair is making a lot of noise, you might want to consider upgrading to a Cactus 2.0. And what that is a new version of this Cactus on the back. And the reason you might want this is because when you depress the pedal, your spring hooks rotate around the metal Cactus. And they sometimes can create noises like this, or they will eventually wear a groove in the most used Cactus positions. And then they'll get even noisier. So the new Cactus prevents that. All right, so I think we're ready to get started with our installation. In general, we're going to have to remove the upholstery from this chair to remove our Cactus. We'll put the new one back on, and then we'll be ready to go. All right. I'm going to open this box here. Joe's going to get really mad at me for pulling the knife towards myself. He always gives me grief. All right. So in our box, we've got some instructions. We've got 2 Allen wrenches, an 1/8 inch and a 5/32, and the new Cactus. Looks like this. So let's first unscrew the 2 bolts here at the bottom. And it looks like we're going to need our 5/32 wrench to do that. Okay. And before we go any further, I'm going to unhook the springs. I can see Joe making googly eyes at me. Okay. And now the other 2 bolts we need to undo are actually underneath here. So I'm going to flip the chair over, remove the upholstery, and then I can remove this Cactus, install the new one, and then flip it back up. All right, we're going to continue after this brief break. All right, so we've got the chair flipped over, and Joe is going to help me keep the pedal out of my face, hopefully. If I mess up, I will know for sure it might hit me. All right, so we're going to target these 4 screws on the bottom of the chair here. We've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to use my 1/8 inch Allen wrench to loosen them.
Why don't you just use power drill?
I'll get to that later, Amalia. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's really interesting. I bet you've never seen a bolt come out of a nut before.
Maybe not that slowly.
Zing!
Wow.
I hang out with Joe.
Yeah, you can tell.
Makes you mean.
Mad jokes.
Mad jokes.
Or mad meanness. All right. So I'm saving these bolts that I've just removed, and now I'm going to pry the upholstery off. And you'll notice it was a little bit sticky here because this is not a brand new chair, and that's normal. Make sure that you don't scratch the top of your upholstery when you remove it. Now we have access to these two flathead bolts here, and I'm going to grab my 5/32 Allen wrench, thank you, Joe, and remove those. Lefty-loosey, right?
That'd be correct.
Okay. Look at that. Here's our old Cactus.
Just comparison of the two.
Yeah, it's great. Joe, would you pass me the new one? The 2.0. So the 2.0 is going to go on exactly how the first one was, and I'm going to go ahead and reattach these two flathead bolts here. Let's see.
Now, Kayleen, wouldn't you recommend finger tightening all 4 screws on the Cactus first and then tightening them down, make sure you got proper alignment?
I think that's a great tactic, Joe, because sometimes I'll tighten down 2 screws super far, and then I'll get to the other 2, and they don't line up with the holes, and because the first 2 are tight, I can't move the piece.
So then you're saying it's actually better if you tighten the Cactus down first, then put the upholstery back on?
Yep. So basically, you're going to force Scott to redo all of his cameras.
Yes.
All right, so I finger tightened those first 2 bolts. Let's tip the chair up, and I will get the bottom 2 bolts here. All right.
You're an all-star.
All right, now we are going to hand tighten these 2 bolts here at the base of the Cactus. Oops. Now we are sure that all 4 of these bolts will fit into their T-nuts. We can, yes, thank you. That's quite an achievement, I know. Now we can flip the chair back over, tighten up the top 2 screws, and reinstall the upholstery. All right.
Move your hardware, please.
Okay. Do you want to get the backside?
Sure.
Is that a wide-angle lens?
One of them is.
Da-da-da-da.
Do it up.
Okay, now let's go ahead and tighten these flathead bolts up here on the top. Now, Joe, what would you tell me about how tight to make these?
Make them very snug, but you don't have to put extreme force on them, because they are just going to fall loose.
I think I'd have used.
Can you get that lined up?
You think I'd have used an Allen wrench before, right?
I don't know,
There we
1 or
go.
20 times.
Oops. All right. We are ready to put the upholstery pad back on.
And this is another situation where you want to finger tighten
Yeah.
the screws.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and insert all 4 of these bolts by hand first, just to make sure that they fit in the holes correctly.
We want to hear a joke.
Make me laugh, famous people.
You really want to hear a cactus joke?
Yeah. What do you got, Caitlin?
It's too much. This is too much. So I was looking at this cactus the other day thinking, something is not quite right. But I just couldn't put my finger on it. You guys are too nice.
It looks like you have a little difficulty telling jokes and tightening bolts.
Despite what I would like people to think, I'm not great at multitasking. Too much.
Why aren't you using a power drill?
Hold your horses, girl.
I'm just saying.
So, the reason I'm not using a power drill is because there's a pretty big risk of going too fast
Scratching up the wood.
and scratching the wood, but going so fast that you put a lot of torque on the nut and it will come loose or you'll strip the threads.
You ready?
Yes, please. Very good. Thank you. James, I gotta have you around all the time. This makes me feel so good.
You're not quite done. I believe there's 2 more bolts to tighten up.
I'm getting there, Joe. I'm getting there. Oh, we don't even have that sign. All right. After this short break, we'll finish the chair up. Welcome back. The last thing we have to do here is tighten the 2 bolts at the base of the cactus. So I'm going to go righty-tighty and make them snug so they don't come loose again, but you don't have to wrench on them too hard. All right? Now we're ready to reattach the springs, and your springs are going to attach the same way as before. They just go right over the hook. And we're making sure that the metal part of the spring is on the very bottom part of the cactus. You should not use the chair if the spring hook is out here, okay? Same thing goes for these cotton loops. These are lovely to help change the position of the spring on the cactus, but they are not designed to take the load of the pedal just like that. So this is not safe. Make sure that the metal hook of the spring is on the cactus. All right, so that's all we need to do to install your Cactus 2.0. I hope you have a good time with it. Thanks for joining me here for BB Garage Live. If you need more videos like this one, you can check them out at pilates.com/bbgarage. Thanks.